If you follow Ellen Fisher on Instagram, you may have seen her most recent post about abortion. She also highly recommended the books Atlas Shrugged and The Fountainhead by Ayn Rand in her Instagram stories. She has officially exposed herself as a conservative. This was actually brought to my attention a few months ago when someone in the comments section somewhere mentioned that Ellen Fisher was a Trump supporter, and I was like, there's no way. And they were like, yes way, just look at the people that she follows on Instagram. So I did some sleuthing, and much to my dismay, she not only follows people like Candace Owens and likes a bunch of her posts, but she's also subscribed to the Daily Wire, Ben Shapiro's show on YouTube. And this guy, Brandon Tatum, which if you haven't heard of him, I hadn't, just go take a look-see. Take a look at his page. This person also informed me that Ellen's husband, Andrew, follows the entire Trump clan on Instagram and has liked several posts that were anti-immigration. This is upsetting, particularly because they live in Hawaii, and I understand that we're all on stolen land, but considering the US illegally overthrew the Hawaiian government not too long ago, this is just such a fresh, open wound. To live in Maui and be in favor of right-wing immigration policies is just like, what? No. People called them out on this several times, but apparently Ellen would just delete the comments. It seems that she wanted to remain apolitical so as not to alienate her followers, and her sister Hannah expressed a similar sentiment in one of her recent vlogs.
I'm running for public office.
Oh, are you?
Yeah. My party?
No.
Oh, no.
Keep the politics out of it. I know we're in DC,
it's
but
a YouTube video, precious.
we don't want to be divisive, you know? We don't want to alienate half the audience.
Oh, okay.
I considered making a video about this a while ago, but I didn't because I genuinely like Ellen and Hannah, and I wanted to approach this carefully. The reason I'm making this video now is because I think it sparks an important and necessary discussion. First, I want to talk about the myth of the intolerant left. The comments on Ellen's pro-life post were poppin', and it's fair to say that there was a lot of emotion and vitriol coming from people. Many people felt compelled to share that they were unfollowing and that they had completely lost respect. But there was also a bunch of praise and adoration and people rushing to Ellen's defense. I saw a lot of comments along the lines of, are people not entitled to their opinion? And on the flip side, I saw a lot of kindly worded, compassionate, fair criticism. This, my friends, is the nature of the internet. There's this myth that's super pervasive on the right, that the left is just a bunch of intolerant, freaking snowflakes that are just offended by everything. And there's also a myth pervasive on the left that right-wingers are just a bunch of heartless, racist, greedy assholes. Both of these myths need to die, okay? There's plenty of examples of charitable, kind-hearted conservatives and tolerant, understanding progressives out there. Passion, anger, and intolerance are displayed on both sides. I'm not talking about Charlottesville here, I'm talking about internet culture. Politics are important, and shit gets heated. If only we could have adult conversations that focus on policy substance rather than character assassinate each other. Ellen shared this comment on her Instagram story, and it shows that she has a bit of a double standard. It begins with, "It's funny to read the comments on this thread because it shows how intolerant left-leaning people are." If you don't appreciate generalizations about conservatives, then don't make generalizations about progressives. When I hear conservatives whining about how intolerant the left is, it reminds me of carnists accusing vegans of being judgmental. Are vegans judgmental? Sure, some of us are. I'll also acknowledge that a lot of people on the left aren't very tolerant or forgiving. But these aren't problems unique to vegans or leftists. It's just human nature. Even if it were true that vegans were slightly more judgmental and that the left was slightly more intolerant, this has no bearing on the validity of our claims. Calling progressives intolerant is an ad hom. It's just shallow and irrelevant. I talk about this in my video, Are Vegans Judgmental?, which you should definitely watch because it's extremely relevant. I do want to point out though that just as there's a distinction between being judgmental and expressing good judgment, tolerance of intolerance is not tolerance. If you don't support gay marriage, for example, and you would vote to uphold traditional marriage, you're expressing intolerance of an oppressed minority. Your intolerance will not be tolerated by rational, ethical people. To demand tolerance of such beliefs is missing the point. It's like when meat eaters demand mutual respect for their dietary choices. Oftentimes, political issues like this are framed as a mere difference of opinion. This framing diminishes the severity of the harm caused by certain policies, just as framing veganism as a dietary choice diminishes the severity of the harm imposed on animals. Of course, I can respect people as human beings and judge them based on the whole of who they are, but that doesn't mean that I have to respect their beliefs. I understand why some of Ellen's followers chose to unfollow, but as a dedicated follower for years, I still see Ellen as an overall good person with many positive qualities, so I'm not so quick to unsubscribe. Although my relationship with Ellen is entirely parasocial, I kind of view her as a part of my extended family. And personally, I'm not gonna disown my cousin or aunt or uncle solely because they voted for Trump. Of course, it's disappointing, I get it, and I do see Ellen and Hannah in a different light now. Another thing I wanted to talk about is success and privilege. I'm speaking for myself here, but I do know a lot of progressives who share the same sentiment. I don't think the accumulation of wealth is inherently wrong. It's how you acquired your wealth and what you do with it, and whether or not you acknowledge your privilege. I don't see a problem with how Ellen acquired her wealth, and as far as I can tell, I don't really see a major issue with what she's doing with it. She just donated 10 grand to charity, which is commendable. But I've watched most all of Hannah and Ellen's videos, and I've never really seen an acknowledgement of privilege from either of them, which is kind of a bummer. And judging by the people she follows, like Candace Owens and Brandon Tatum, and freaking Ayn Rand, it's not a huge leap to assume that Ellen believes we live in a meritocracy. I won't deny that she worked hard to get to where she's at now. It's pretty obvious that both Ellen and Hannah have a solid work ethic, but to not acknowledge that their success is a result of a combination of hard work, privilege, and luck is unsettling.
I'm big on finances and just the whole power of the mind with... Oh, can I say this too? I just forgot to include this in my story because just a few months before you and I started working together and did the session, I read a book called You Are a Badass at Making Money by Jen Sincero. And this was the first I had ever fully been introduced to the power of the mind in a way that I could appreciate. It was down to earth and easy to understand. I highly recommend Jen Sincero's books. And anyway, I think that's why I was really receptive to it because I think I was very skeptical. And what happened was, I'm like nervous to shit. I'm just gonna say it. 3 months after I started reading that book and got really into it, I tripled my income. And that blew my mind. I was like, oh my gosh, this is for real. And this whole manifesting stuff, I'm down and I'm a total convert. Yeah.
You can have anything you want. You can have as much of it as you want. Just believe in it. You're a millionaire. You're abundant. You're an abundant millionaire. I believe I'm an abundant millionaire. You are an abundant millionaire.
And this is not coming from a place of jealousy. I am financially secure and pretty content with my life. But I recognize that I am incredibly privileged. All people want is an acknowledgement of privilege, which translates to voting in a way that acknowledges privilege. Although some people are broke because they spend their money on dumb shit, poverty is not an indication of laziness and poor money management. It's a result of a broken economic system. So go forth and succeed and build financial security for your family. Retire early, be happy, but don't vote for policies that make the rich even richer and the poor even poorer. Jeff Bezos and the Walton family don't need any more money. The plebeians need freaking healthcare. Another reason I wanted to make this video is because currently The only public criticism of Ellen and Hannah is from Unnatural Vegan, and I think her criticism is a bit harsh. It's probably due to the fact that she doesn't follow Ellen or Hannah's content, so she doesn't have a fair grasp on what they're about. I, on the other hand, have followed Ellen and Hannah for a very long time, and I've been extremely inspired by both of them, and I think they make great content. But if you're familiar with my content, you'll know that I'm extremely passionate about politics, so I felt compelled to share my thoughts on this whole Instagram drama going on. As far as how I feel about abortion, I actually have an entire video about it. One person commented on Ellen's post, "I never understood how vegans support abortion." Well, if you would like to understand, go watch my video, where I make the case for why it is morally consistent to be both vegan and pro-choice. There is so much to say, but I think I'll end it here. In my next video, which I've already filmed, just gotta edit, I've outlined why conservatism is incompatible with vegan ethics. So subscribe if you haven't already, and stay tuned for that.
Yo, how when me eat them, I wonder when me eat. When me tell them say me no eat no fish, nah, no meat now. How when me eat them, I wonder when me yam. When me tell them say that I'm a vegan man. How when me eat them, I wonder when me eat. When me tell them say me no eat no fish, nah, no meat now.